In a world that constantly screams, share everything, be authentic, live out loud. An ancient military strategist offers a truly radical, almost countercultural idea. He suggests that the less you reveal, the more powerful you actually become. It's a tough pill to swallow, right? We've been conditioned to believe that pouring our hearts out, laying our lives bare for everyone to see, somehow builds deeper connections. But what if instead of forging bonds, you're inadvertently handing over the keys to your own potential defeat? What if you're making yourself vulnerable in ways you don't even realize? Sun Tzu's Art of War isn't just some dusty old book about battlefield tactics. No, this isn't about literal armies clashing. It's a profound guide to protecting your peace, preserving your power, and safeguarding your heart in the incredibly complex, often chaotic warfare of modern relationships. Think about it. Your friendships, your romantic partnerships, even your professional interactions, they all have strategic elements. And in that landscape, information is your most valuable asset. So, stick with me. We're going to dive deep into how to transform his ancient secrets into your very own personal armor, helping you navigate the tricky waters of connection without getting swept away. Section 1. The hidden cost of telling too much. Most of us grew up hearing that openness equals honesty, and honesty, well, that's the bedrock of trust. It sounds good in theory, doesn't it? So, we embrace it. We post those raw emotional breakup screenshots online for all our acquaintances to dissect. We might narrate our deepest childhood traumas on a first date, hoping it fast-tracks intimacy. We forward the latest, most embarrassing family group chat meltdown to a brand new friend, thinking it makes us relatable. And for a fleeting 5 minutes, it often feels incredibly liberating, like a massive weight has been lifted. But then, almost inevitably, comes the delayed sting. That awkward silence after you've revealed too much, leaving the other person visibly uncomfortable. The insidious whisper of gossip that makes its way back to you twisted and exaggerated. Or, perhaps most subtly, the quiet, almost imperceptible power shift that leaves you feeling exposed and disarmed. You've given away too much too soon, and now you're playing catch-up. Sun Tzu, in his timeless wisdom, warns us that exposing your true position, your she or your genuine strength and capabilities, is the fastest way to lose your leverage. Imagine a general revealing his troop numbers, their morale, and their supply lines, all at once. Disaster, right? In war, that means keeping your troop numbers, your strategic positions, and your true intentions hidden. In life, it means guarding the intricate details that could easily make you vulnerable or easy to manipulate. These aren't necessarily dark secrets, they're simply sensitive points. Your deepest insecurities, the exact figures of your financial stress, those raw emotional triggers that can send you spiraling. Once those pieces of information are out in the public sphere, or even just with one person you barely know, the other person no longer has to guess where to push your buttons. You've essentially handed them a detailed map to your emotional weak spots. Oversharing also subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, trains people to expect unlimited access to your inner world. You set a precedent. You've shown them that your boundaries are, shall we say, permeable. The moment you try to pull back to reclaim a little privacy, what happens? They often accuse you of hiding something, of being secretive, or even worse, of no longer trusting them. It's a tricky trap to escape once you're in it. Isn't it far better, then, to set that boundary early? To reveal yourself in measured, deliberate doses? Think of it like a high-stakes poker game. If you slam your entire hand face up on the table right at the beginning, the game is over before it's truly begun. You've lost all your mystery, all your strategic advantage. The same dynamic plays out in every corner of our lives, in love, in deep friendships, and yes, even in the subtle, often cutthroat world of office politics. Information is currency, a valuable commodity. Spend it wisely, or you'll find your emotional bank account going bankrupt faster than you can say overshare. Section 2. The myth of instant intimacy. It's easy, almost too easy, to point the finger at social media for this relentless pressure to overshare. And sure, it plays a huge role. But the deeper, more insidious trap is this pervasive belief that speed somehow equates to depth. We tell ourselves that if we swap our messiest, most traumatic stories at 2 o'clock in the morning, fueled by exhaustion and emotional vulnerability, we've magically found our soulmate. We mistake the intensity of the moment for the solidity of a genuine connection. Sun Tzu would look at this and call it rushing headlong into battle without ever bothering to scout the terrain. You wouldn't send your troops blindly into unknown territory, would you? Why then do we do it with our hearts? This instant intimacy approach completely skips the crucial testing phase. You never get the chance to truly learn whether this person has the emotional capacity, the integrity, or the genuine care to handle your secrets once the initial adrenaline rush fades away. What happens when the novelty wears off and they're left with the raw, unfiltered truth of your past? Can they still hold it with respect, or will they treat it as casual gossip? Real closeness, the kind that endures, isn't forged under the artificial glare of spotlights or the fleeting rush of a dramatic confession. It's built, brick by painstaking brick, under the quiet pressure of shared experiences, mutual respect, and consistent reliability. By slowing down the reveal, by holding back a little, you create invaluable space. This space allows the other person to show you through their actions and their consistent character who they truly are. Each time they respond to a small, measured disclosure with genuine empathy, respect, and discretion, they earn a little more of your trust. And with that earned trust, you can then, and only then, disclose a little more of yourself. This gradual, deliberate escalation protects you from the emotional ambush Sun Tzu so sagely cautions against. Attack where the enemy is unprepared. If you keep your most tender vulnerabilities off the radar, carefully guarded until trust has been unequivocally proven, then no one, absolutely no one, can weaponize them against you. You control the narrative, you control the timing, and most importantly, you control your own emotional safety. It's about building a fortress of trust, not throwing open the gates at the first knock. Section 3. Know yourself before you speak. Sun Tzu's most quoted and perhaps most profound line. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. Sounds epic on a motivational poster, doesn't it? It has that grand, sweeping feel. But this isn't just some lofty ideal. It's a gritty, daily practice that applies directly to how and what you share. Before you even open your mouth to share something personal, pause, just for a second, and ask yourself, why am I talking right now? What's the underlying motive? Are you seeking reassurance, desperately hoping someone will tell you it's all going to be okay? Are you trying to control the narrative, to get ahead of a story before someone else tells it? Are you simply lonely, and the act of sharing feels like a quick fix for that ache? If you can't honestly answer that question, if you're just speaking on autopilot or out of a vague emotional impulse, then you're not truly communicating. You're gambling. You're throwing your emotional chips onto the table without a clear strategy, hoping for a win, but risking a significant loss. Self-knowledge also means diligently learning your personal warning lights. We all have them. Maybe you've noticed you tend to overshare when you're utterly exhausted, your filters are down, and your brain is mush. Or perhaps it's after 2 glasses of wine when your inhibitions loosen up a little too much. Or maybe it's that uncomfortable moment when the conversation hits an awkward, pregnant pause, and you feel compelled to fill the void with something, anything, personal. Start tracking those moments. For just 1 week, pay close attention. When do you feel that urge to spill? Once you spot the pattern, once you understand your triggers, you can insert a crucial pause button into your interactions. It could be as simple as taking a deep, deliberate breath, excusing yourself for a quick sip of water, or deftly changing the subject to something less personal. These small, intentional actions can create just enough space to prevent those words from spilling out prematurely. Sun Tzu would absolutely applaud this. He'd call it fortifying your position before the enemy even approaches. You're shoring up your defenses, not when the attack is imminent, but long before, making yourself impregnable. You're not reacting, you're strategizing. Section 4. Strategic silence as a weapon. Sun Tzu famously declared, all warfare is based on deception now. Before you recoil, let's be clear. This absolutely does not mean lie. That's a crucial distinction. What it means is managing perception, controlling the narrative, and strategically choosing what to reveal and what to withhold. And in that context, silence. Silence is perhaps the cheapest, safest, and most powerful form of deception available to you. When you intentionally withhold that dramatic detail, when you resist the urge to immediately fill every conversational void, you force the other person to reveal their own cards first. You create a vacuum, and often people will rush to fill it with their own thoughts, their own judgments, or their own vulnerabilities. If they respond to your silence with genuine empathy, with curiosity and respect, then you have a clear opening. You can match their empathy and perhaps share a little more. But if they respond with judgment, with probing questions that feel invasive, or with an attempt to exploit your quietness, then you've learned something invaluable about them, and you've done so without paying the full price of opening up prematurely. You've gathered intelligence without risking your own position. Silence also buys you something incredibly precious: time. Time to fact-check your emotions. How many times have you typed out a lengthy, emotionally charged paragraph at 1 o'clock in the morning, only to wake up the next day, rereading it and thinking, "Oh, wow, I could have boiled that down to 3 concise sentences," or better yet, not sent it at all? We've all been there. Emotions, especially strong ones, can cloud our judgment and push us towards regrettable disclosures. Sun Tzu prizes the commander who can patiently wait on the hillside for the perfect wind shift. For the opportune moment to strike, he understands that timing is everything. You, too, can cultivate that patience. Practice saying, that's an interesting point. I need to think about that and get back to you, or I'll consider that and let you know. It signals confidence, not coldness. It demonstrates that your words are valuable, considered, and not simply impulsive reactions. It tells others that you are a person who thinks before they speak, and that, in itself, is a powerful form of strategic silence. It commands respect without demanding it. Section 5. The power of partial truths. In the intricate dance of human connection, there's a beautiful, often overlooked sweet spot. It exists precisely between full, unbridled disclosure and outright dishonest lying. We call it selective honesty, and it's a nuanced art form. The goal here isn't to deceive or mislead, but to share enough to connect, enough to be genuine, without exposing yourself unnecessarily or giving away all your strategic advantage. Think about it. You can absolutely share the feeling, the essence of an experience, without needing to recount every single gory, painful, or embarrassing detail. For example, instead of launching into a blow-by-blow account of a devastating breakup, you might say, "I had a pretty rough patch last year, a really challenging time that ultimately taught me a lot about resilience and my own strength." See the difference? This gives flavor. It offers a glimpse into your journey. It establishes a common ground of human experience. But crucially, it doesn't hand over the entire blueprint of your vulnerabilities. It doesn't give someone a detailed map to your past emotional wounds. If someone presses you for more, and they often will, you then have the power to decide in real time whether more depth is truly earned in that moment. You can assess their genuine curiosity versus mere nosiness. Sun Tzu advises showing a false shape to the enemy while keeping your real shape, your true strength and intentions hidden. Translated into the delicate art of relationships, this means letting people see enough of you to feel connected, to build rapport, to understand your character, but not so much that they can corner you, manipulate you, or exploit your past. It's about crafting a narrative that is true, but strategically edited. You're not lying, you're curating. You're presenting a truthful, yet incomplete picture. This allows you to maintain your Tzu, your concealed or false appearance, while protecting your Shi, your true position and strength. It's a way to engage authentically without becoming an open book for everyone to read, highlight, and potentially misuse. This selective honesty preserves your dignity, maintains a healthy sense of personal mystery, and ensures that deeper revelations are reserved for those who have truly earned them through consistent trust and respect. Section 6. Reading the room like a general, before you utter a single personal word. Before you even consider opening up, take a page from Sun Tzu's playbook and scan your environment. A good general doesn't rush into battle without understanding the terrain, the weather, and the enemy's disposition. In your daily interactions, this means performing a quick mental reconnaissance. Is the person you're speaking with distracted, their eyes darting around, their mind clearly elsewhere? Are they overtly competitive, always trying to one-up you, or turn the conversation back to themselves? Are they emotionally flooded, perhaps overwhelmed by their own issues, and therefore incapable of truly holding space for yours. If any of these conditions are present, then even a modest disclosure, something you might consider relatively harmless, could be stored away and potentially misused later. It might become fodder for gossip, or worse, a subtle tool to gain an advantage over you. Sun Tzu writes that victory belongs to the side that can appear where it is not expected. This isn't about being unpredictable in a chaotic way, but rather in a way that confounds expectations and prevents others from easily categorizing or manipulating you. If you consistently maintain a calm demeanor, if you remain slightly mysterious, if you don't immediately lay all your cards on the table, you become that person whose next move nobody quite predicts. You become an enigma in the best possible sense. That very unpredictability becomes a powerful form of protection. People hesitate to take advantage of you or to probe too deeply, precisely because they can't forecast how you'll respond. They don't know what lies beneath the surface, and that uncertainty gives you significant leverage. It creates a respectful distance, a boundary that others are less likely to cross because they understand implicitly that you operate with a quiet strength and an inner reserve. You control the flow of information, and in doing so, you control the dynamics of the interaction. Section 7. Rebuilding after you've overspilled? Okay, let's be real. Maybe you're watching this right now, and a wave of recognition just washed over you because you just sent that giant, rambling confession text. Or perhaps you just had that awkward conversation where you shared way too much, and now you're replaying it, cringing. We've all been there. It happens. The good news is that damage control is absolutely possible, and it starts with a surprisingly simple yet incredibly powerful statement. It could be something like, "Hey, I realize I shared more than I'm truly comfortable with the other day. I'd like to reset the pace of our conversations going forward." Or, "I need to be honest, I got a little carried away, and I'm feeling a bit exposed. I'd appreciate it if we could slow things down a bit." Will it feel awkward? Absolutely. There's no getting around that initial discomfort. Your stomach might do a little flip, but reclaiming your agency, taking back control of your narrative and your boundaries, is infinitely less embarrassing and far more empowering than walking around indefinitely exposed, feeling vulnerable and regretting your words. Sun Tzu, in his strategic wisdom, urges retreat when the battlefield turns unfavorable. This isn't about cowardice or failure. It's about intelligent repositioning. Retreat isn't a sign of weakness. It's a strategic move to preserve your forces and find a better vantage point. The sooner you step back, the faster you can fortify your emotional defenses. Reassess your position and move forward with greater intentionality. This act of drawing a boundary, even retrospectively, communicates that you value your privacy and that you are the one in charge of what you share. It might feel like a small step, but it's a monumental leap towards self-respect and strategic self-management. CTA 1. Pause right here and drop the word armored in the comments if you're ready to practice strategic silence this week. I read every single one, and your commitment might inspire someone else to zip it at the crucial moment. Section 8. Crafting your personal information filter. To truly master the art of strategic sharing, you need a system, a framework that helps you categorize information before it leaves your lips. Think of it like building 3 mental buckets, or perhaps 3 different levels of security clearance for your personal data. This isn't about being cold or calculating. It's about being intentional and protective of your most valuable asset, yourself. Here's how you can set up these mental buckets. Asterisk, asterisk, bucket 1. Safe for anyone. Asterisk, asterisk, this is your public-facing information. It's the stuff you wouldn't mind seeing on a billboard or hearing discussed casually. We're talking about your favorite coffee order, your current Netflix binge. General career field, not your specific salary or workplace drama, perhaps your favorite sports team, or what you had for dinner last night. This information is easily accessible and perfectly fine for casual conversations. It helps build initial rapport without exposing anything sensitive. Asterisk, asterisk, bucket 2. Needs context. Asterisk, asterisk. This bucket holds information that is more personal, more nuanced, and requires a certain level of trust, discernment, and understanding from the other party. This could include details about family dynamics or minor disagreements, health scares past or present. but not overly graphic details. Financial stresses, general concerns, not account numbers. Or perhaps your personal opinions on slightly controversial topics. This information should only be shared when you have a clearer understanding of the person you re-speaking with, when you sense a genuine connection, and when you trust their discretion. It's information that, if shared carelessly, could be misinterpreted or used against you, but if shared thoughtfully, can deepen a bond. Asterisk, bucket 3. Vault level. Asterisk, this is your inner sanctum. This bucket is for your deepest fears, your most profound insecurities, your highly personal past traumas, your financial passwords, your most intimate romantic experiences, or anything else you absolutely would not want broadcast to the world. This information is sacred. It should only be shared with individuals who have proven, over a significant period, to be utterly trustworthy, empathetic, and committed to your well-being. And even then, it should be shared with immense care and intentionality. Before you speak, before you type that message, take a split second to mentally identify which bucket the topic you're about to discuss lives in. If it falls into bucket 2, or especially bucket 3, your default response should be delay. Create a go-to phrase, a verbal shield, that allows you to gracefully defer the conversation. Something like, "Oh, that S, a longer story. Maybe we can save that for when we have more time to really dive into it." Or, "That's a bit personal, but I appreciate you asking." Sun Tzu would absolutely applaud this kind of disciplined segmentation. He understood the importance of keeping your forces in this case. Your secrets and vulnerabilities are a disarrayed in proper formation. Strategically organized rather than scattered haphazardly across the battlefield. This mental filter empowers you to be deliberate, to protect your most sensitive information, and to ensure that your disclosures are always a choice, not an accidental spill. It's about maintaining control over your narrative and your emotional well-being. Section 9, handling pressure tactics. Let's face it, some people, consciously or unconsciously, are expert boundary sniffers. They sense a little bit of reserve, a hint of privacy, and they immediately lean in, pushing harder. They might hit you with questions like, "What are you hiding?" Or, "I thought we were close. Why aren't you telling me everything?" These tactics, while sometimes born of genuine curiosity, often carry an underlying current of manipulation. They are, in essence, a confession of their goals: to gain more information, to exert more influence, to feel more in the know, not a reflection of what you owe them. The key to disarming these pressure tactics is calm, consistent repetition. Think of it as the broken record technique, but delivered with grace and unwavering composure. You can respond with phrases like, "I appreciate your curiosity, but I'm choosing to share when it feels right for both of us." Or, "I prefer to keep certain things private for now, and that's just how I operate." Or even, "My comfort level is important to me. I'm setting a boundary here." The power of this technique lies in its unwavering nature. You're not getting defensive, you're not offering lengthy explanations, and you're not apologizing. You are simply stating your boundary, clearly and calmly, again and again if necessary. This verbal equivalent of holding the high ground is incredibly effective. Sun Tzu notes that terrain advantage multiplies your strength. Similarly, calm consistency in maintaining your boundaries creates a psychological high ground. You remain unruffled, in control, and you demonstrate that your boundaries are non-negotiable. This approach teaches the other person that their probing questions won't yield the desired result. It subtly shifts the dynamic, showing them that you are not easily swayed or pressured. Over time, they learn that pushing you won't work, and they'll either respect your boundaries or reveal themselves as someone unwilling to engage with you respectfully. Either way, you gain clarity and maintain your strategic position. Section 10. The long game. Maintaining influence. Relationships, much like military campaigns, aren't typically decided by a single dramatic battle. They are complex, ongoing operations, a series of interactions and strategic moves played out over time. By carefully metering out information, by choosing what and when to share, you're not just protecting yourself in the short term. You're creating ongoing opportunities for positive reinforcement and building a solid foundation for long-term influence. Think about it this way. Each time you're measured, thoughtful disclosures are met with genuine respect, discretion, and understanding. The trust account between you and that person grows. It's like making consistent, small deposits into a bank account. Over weeks, months, and even years, this dynamic of earned trust gives you a profound, almost understated form of influence. People feel that they've genuinely earned your confidence, that you haven't just handed it out freely. This makes your words, your opinions, and your presence more valuable to them. They'll listen more intently, respect your counsel, and value your perspective precisely because they know you don't speak lightly or reveal indiscriminately. Sun Tzu summarizes this beautifully as winning without fighting. You never had to argue, bargain, or beg for respect. You didn't have to demand it. Instead, you skillfully orchestrated the conditions through your consistent behavior and strategic sharing, so that respect became the natural, inevitable outcome. You built a reputation for discretion, wisdom, and composure, and that reputation built on a foundation of carefully managed information. It's a far more powerful and sustainable form of influence than any amount of oversharing could ever hope to achieve. It's about cultivating an aura of quiet authority, where your words carry weight because they are rare and considered. Section 11. When full honesty is required. Let's be absolutely clear. Strategic silence is not a lifelong sentence of secrecy. This isn't about building impenetrable walls around your entire being. Intimacy, true intimacy, requires vulnerability. The goal here is not to become a stoic, unfeeling enigma, but to engage in informed release. Once someone has consistently proven themselves trustworthy, and this is key, through consistent actions, not just empty words or fleeting promises, then, and only then, can you consider upgrading them to deeper access to your inner world. Even in these situations, when you're ready to share more, honesty can still be staged. You don't have to dump everything at once. Think of it as a gradual unveiling. Start with medium-risk disclosures. Share something a little more personal than usual, but not vault level. Then, crucially, observe their reactions. Do they listen empathetically? Do they keep your confidence? Do they respond with understanding or judgment? If they continue to prove reliable, if they consistently handle your disclosures with care and respect, then you can slowly, incrementally, move closer to the vault. Sun Tzu calls timing the decisive factor. Strike only when victory is certain. In the realm of personal relationships, this translates to share your deepest truths only when the environment of trust is demonstrably secure. The goal isn't permanent concealment. It's informed release. It's about ensuring that when you do choose to open up, it's a deliberate act of building a deeper connection with a worthy individual, rather than a risky gamble that leaves you exposed. This approach ensures that your vulnerability is an act of strength, not a moment of weakness. It's about choosing your confidants wisely. It's understanding that true intimacy is a privilege earned, not a right assumed. Section 12. Protecting your energy in group settings. Group settings. Work lunches, boisterous family gatherings, weddings, holiday parties. These are the natural habitats where oversharing truly thrives. The sheer volume of conversation, the relaxed atmosphere, and the often present alcohol all conspire to lower our filters and encourage us to spill more than we intended. It's easy to get caught up in the energy and suddenly find yourself emotionally hungover from having revealed too much. This is where the art of micro-boundaries becomes your best friend. These are small, subtle, polite moves that quietly disrupt probing agendas without causing a scene or making you seem rude. Instead of answering a direct, overly personal question head-on, try answering with a question of your own. Oh, that's an interesting thought. What makes you ask that? Or I'm curious, what's your experience with something like that? This immediately shifts the focus away from you. Another excellent tactic is deflection with humor. If someone asks something a bit too nosy, you can offer a lighthearted, self-deprecating joke that sidesteps the question without truly answering it. A general might favor a light joke about your boring spreadsheet life or my exciting evening of doing laundry can effectively redirect attention away from a personal line of inquiry without confrontation. It's a gentle parry, not a direct stab. Or, perhaps the simplest and most effective micro-boundary. Excuse yourself. Oh, I just remembered I need to refill my drink. Or I should probably go say hi to so-and-so before they leave. These are socially acceptable ways to create physical and conversational distance, giving you a chance to regroup and reset your boundaries. The less data you volunteer in public, the less ammunition exists for private criticism, gossip, or future manipulation. Every piece of information you hold back, every personal detail you choose not to disclose in a group setting is a protective layer. It ensures that your private life remains yours, and that your public persona is one of composure and discretion. You control the narrative, even in a crowded room. CTA 2. If you've ever left a party feeling emotionally hungover because you spilled too much, hit the like button so more people learn these crowd control tactics. Section 13. Teaching others without preaching. Once you start consistently practicing restraint, once you embody this strategic approach to sharing, something interesting often happens. Your friends, your colleagues, your family, they might start to notice a shift. They might ask you, how did you become so ... chill? Or you seem so calm lately. What's your secret? This is your opportunity to teach, not by preaching, but by principle and example. Instead of lecturing them with, you overshare too much, you really need to zip it, which will almost certainly put them on the defensive. Offer principles based on your own experience. Frame it around your personal growth. I've noticed I just feel a lot better, less drained, when I take a little more time before opening up about personal stuff. Or I've found that being more intentional about what I share has really helped me feel more grounded. Sun Tzu believed that the highest form of a general inspires by example, not by constant orders and micromanagement. Your calmer energy, your newfound composure, your quiet strength, these become your most powerful tools of persuasion. People are far more likely to mirror behavior they admire than to follow dictates they resent. Let your peaceful presence do the talking. Those who are truly ready for change, those who are genuinely seeking a similar sense of peace and control, will naturally gravitate towards your approach and begin to mirror it. You're not telling them what to do, you're simply showing them a different, more effective way to be. Section 14. When you're on the receiving end, you may be watching this not because you're the one oversharing, but because you're on the receiving end. Maybe someone close to you, a friend, a family member. A partner constantly leaks their trauma, their anxieties, their deepest insecurities onto you, and it's draining you dry. You care about them deeply, but you're finding yourself emotionally exhausted, feeling responsible for their emotional well-being and utterly overwhelmed. This is a common and challenging situation, but you absolutely have the right and the necessity to set empathetic limits. Your emotional bandwidth is a finite resource, not an endless well. You need to protect your own perimeter. So how do you do this with compassion? Start by acknowledging their pain, but then gently, firmly pivot to your own capacity. You might say, I care about you so much, and I hear that you're going through a lot. Right now, though, I'm not in the headspace to take on heavy topics. Can we revisit this tomorrow? Or perhaps later in the week when I can give you my full attention? Or, I want to be there for you, but I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed myself today. Could we talk about something lighter for a bit? Or maybe find a different time to discuss this? You're not shutting them down. You're protecting your own emotional supply lines. Sun Tzu writes that protecting your supply lines is paramount to keeping your army strong and sustained. In your personal life, protecting your emotional bandwidth is crucial to keeping your relationships sustainable and healthy and to maintaining your own mental and emotional strength. It's not selfish. It's self-preservation, which ultimately allows you to be more present and supportive when you are genuinely able to be. You're teaching them how to respect your boundaries while still affirming your care for them. Section 15. Avoiding the other extreme. Stonewalling. While we're championing strategic silence and measured disclosure, it's absolutely crucial to acknowledge the other extreme. Stonewalling. There's a vast, vital difference between intentional, strategic silence and a complete emotional lockdown. If you never share, if you build such high, impenetrable walls that no one can ever get in, you effectively block any chance of true intimacy. You risk becoming paranoid, always suspecting ulterior motives, always on guard. This kind of chronic withholding can lead to profound isolation, leaving you feeling disconnected and alone, even when surrounded by people. The litmus test here is simple. Does your withholding serve both your safety and the long-term health of your connections? Or does it only serve your need for safety, pushing connection further and further away? If the answer is solely safety, if you're constantly in defense mode, then you're drifting into a dangerous territory of isolation. True balance is dynamic. It's not a static state you achieve once and then forget. It requires constant reassessment. Ask yourself, perhaps monthly, am I still guarding out of wisdom, out of a healthy, strategic self-awareness? Or have I started guarding out of pure fear? Am I protecting myself? Or am I effectively besieging myself within my own emotional fortress? Sun Tzu would call this the critical difference between disciplined defense, a strategic, flexible posture, and a self-inflicted siege, which ultimately starves itself. A fortress is meant to protect, but if its gates are never opened, it becomes a prison. The goal is to be discerning, not detached. To be wise, not withdrawn. Section 1-6, the compound interest of mystery. In a world obsessed with instant gratification and constant self-disclosure, there's an incredible, often underestimated power in maintaining a healthy sense of mystery. Every single time you choose mystery over melodrama, every time you opt for composure over a chaotic spill of emotions, you're making a quiet, powerful investment. You're investing in a reputation for thoughtfulness, for depth, for an inner world that isn't immediately laid bare for public consumption. And like any good investment, that choice yields compound interest over time. Over weeks, months, and especially years, that compound interest manifests in profound ways. Professionally, it cultivates a reputation for gravitas, for being a person who thinks before they speak, whose opinions carry weight. People will seek your counsel because they know you're not impulsive. In your romantic life, it creates a deeper, more enduring intrigue. There's a subtle allure to someone who isn't an open book. Someone who reveals themselves in layers, making the journey of discovery all the more compelling and rewarding. And in your friendships, it fosters connections that aren't based on constant crisis management or shared trauma dumping. Instead, they're built on mutual respect, shared interests, and a deeper appreciation for the person you are, rather than just the stories you tell. Sun Tzu observes that battles are often won before they are even fought. Similarly, relationships are strengthened and enriched by what you strategically do not say. Your quiet confidence, your discerning nature, your ability to hold your own counsel. These become your silent resume, speaking volumes without uttering a single unnecessary word. It's an investment in your personal brand, your emotional well-being, and the quality of your connections. Section 17, measuring success. So, how do you know if this strategic approach to sharing is actually working? How do you measure your progress? You don't need complex algorithms or a panel of experts. You just need to tune into 3 simple, yet powerful metrics. These will give you a clear read on whether your information diet is truly nurturing you or still leaving you feeling emotionally hungry and exposed. Your regret rate. Asterisk, asterisk. This is all about how often you replay conversations in your head, cringing at what slipped out, wishing you could take words back. Are you constantly mentally editing past interactions, feeling that familiar knot of shame or embarrassment? If this rate is high, it's a clear sign you're still oversharing. As it drops, and you find yourself less burdened by past conversational missteps, you know you're making progress. Your respect rate. How frequently do people genuinely ask for your opinion, your insights, or your perspective, rather than just prying for gossip or personal drama? Do they listen intently when you speak, valuing your input? Or do they treat your words as mere conversational filler? When your respect rate rises, it indicates that your words carry more weight, that your contributions are valued, and that your presence commands a quiet authority. This is a direct consequence of speaking less and listening more, of sharing thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Your energy rate. This is perhaps the most immediate and visceral metric. How drained or restored do you feel after interactions? Do certain conversations leave you feeling depleted, like you've run an emotional marathon? Or do you walk away feeling energized, balanced, and invigorated? If your energy rate is consistently restored, if you feel a sense of calm and self-possession after engaging with others, it's a powerful indicator that you're managing your information flow effectively. If you observe that your regret rate is steadily dropping, while your respect rate and your energy rate are consistently on the rise, then congratulations. Your information diet is working. You're moving towards a place of deeper connection with less unnecessary exposure. Sun Tzu measured victory by the lowest possible cost. Your goal here is the deepest possible connection with the smallest necessary exposure, ensuring your emotional well-being remains intact. Section 18. Common pitfalls and quick fixes, even with the best intentions. The journey to becoming a more strategic sharer has its common pitfalls. But don't worry, for every pitfall, there's usually a quick, practical fix. Right. Let's look at a few that often trip people up. Pitfall: using alcohol as an excuse to overshare. We've all been there. A few drinks lower inhibitions, and suddenly, your mental filters are gone. You wake up the next morning with a vague sense of dread and a hazy memory of revealing far too much. Fix: set a simple, non-negotiable phone reminder for, say, 11 p.m. or midnight. Nothing good is typed or said after 11. Or better yet, phone away. No personal conversations. This creates a hard stop, a digital bodyguard for your boundaries when your judgment might be compromised. Pitfall: trauma dumping in dating app chats or early dates. You're trying to fast-track intimacy to be authentic, but you end up overwhelming the other person and revealing too much too soon before any real trust has been established. Fix: when you feel the urge to share a deeply personal story, especially a traumatic one, draft it out first. Write it in your phone's notes app, get it all out, and crucially wait 24 hours. Reread it. You'll almost certainly find that you can delete half the details, refine the language, and convey the essence without oversharing. Often you'll decide to delete the whole thing and save it for a person who has truly earned that level of vulnerability. Pitfall: feeling guilty for keeping things private. You might worry that you're being secretive, cold, or not authentic enough if you don't share every detail. This guilt can then push you to overshare. Fix: reframe secrecy as stewardship. You're not hoarding information maliciously. You're protecting a valuable resource: your inner world, your peace, your energy. You are a responsible steward of your own narrative, choosing wisely where and when to invest your personal currency. This shift in perspective from guilty secret keeper to wise steward is incredibly empowering. Sun Tzu cautions that small leaks can sink great ships. These seemingly minor oversharing habits, if left unchecked, can erode your confidence, compromise your relationships, and diminish your sense of self. Plug them early, and you avoid major emotional battles later. Section 19. Creating an accountability system. It's much easier to stick to new habits, especially challenging ones like strategic sharing, when you have a bit of support. Sun Tzu understood the immense power of alliances. So why not leverage that wisdom for your personal growth? Pick one trusted friend who also wants to curb their oversharing tendencies. This shared goal is vital. You're not just finding a confidant, you're forming a strategic alliance. Your mission? To hold each other gently accountable without judgment. Here's a simple, effective system. Exchange a daily emoji. A simple mute symbol or shield emoji each evening can signify, I held my boundaries today. Practice strategic silence. I protected my peace. No lengthy explanations needed. There's no debriefing required unless one of you specifically asks for it. The beauty of this system is its simplicity and its consistency. Over weeks, that streak of emojis becomes its own powerful motivator. You don't want to break the chain. An ally who truly understands your mission, who is on the same journey, multiplies your strength without requiring extra effort from you. They become a silent witness to your commitment, a gentle reminder of your goals, and a shared source of motivation. This isn't about shaming each other. It's about celebrating small victories and reinforcing positive habits. It's a powerful, low-effort way to embed strategic sharing into your daily life. Section 20. Final review. Sun Tzu's checklist for the modern citizen. Let's bring it all together. Sun Tzu's wisdom, distilled for our modern, often oversharing world, provides a robust checklist for navigating personal interactions with grace, power, and peace. Tape these principles to your mirror, repeat them in your head until they become a reflex, a natural part of who you are. Know yourself. This is the bedrock. Understand your triggers, those moments when you're most likely to overshare. Recognize your timing. When are you at your best for important conversations, and when should you absolutely hold back? Identify your weak spots, those vulnerabilities that others might exploit, Self-awareness is your ultimate defense. Know the other party. Before you disclose anything significant, take a moment to gauge their intentions. Are they genuinely empathetic? Are they trustworthy? Are they prone to gossip? Understand their emotional capacity and their motivations. Don't assume good intentions. Observe consistent actions. Hold the high ground. This is about composure and control. Stay calm, even when pressed. Learn to speak less and observe more. Let your quiet presence command respect. The person who listens more than they speak often holds the most power in a conversation. Use discretion as deception. Remember, this isn't about lying. It's about strategic, selective honesty. Share enough to connect, but not so much that you become vulnerable. Present a truthful, yet incomplete picture. Your discretion becomes your shield. Win without fighting. Cultivate a reputation for composure and wisdom. Let respect accumulate naturally through your measured approach to sharing. Don't argue, don't demand. Instead, orchestrate conditions where respect is the inevitable outcome. Once these principles become a reflex, once they are ingrained in your very being, you're no longer consciously practicing information control. You've transcended that. You become someone whose presence naturally enforces respect, boundaries, and a healthy sense of mystery. You've become the embodiment of strategic self-possession. Conclusion: true strength in relationships isn't found in spilling every single secret, in laying bare your entire soul for public consumption. No, it comes from a much deeper, more nuanced understanding. The wisdom to know which secrets, which vulnerabilities will ripen and deepen a connection with time and careful nurturing, and which ones will simply rot under premature or careless exposure. Sun Tzu's genius was in winning every single battle he ever fought. An unrealistic, exhausting goal. His true brilliance lay in his profound ability to choose which battles never even needed to be fought in the first place, through superior strategy and intelligent positioning. Apply that same wisdom to your life. Guard your story. Cherish your inner world. Reveal yourself by degrees, like unfolding a beautiful, complex map, only to those who have proven worthy of the journey. And when you do, you'll discover a remarkable truth. The people who are truly worth keeping in your life, the ones who genuinely matter, will lean in closer. They'll be more intrigued, more respectful, and more committed to understanding you, precisely because you've allowed them to earn your trust, rather than just trampling over your boundaries. If this exploration of ancient wisdom gave you a new framework for protecting your peace, for navigating the complexities of connection with greater intention, then please share it with someone who could truly use a little more armor in their conversations. Remember to subscribe for weekly insights on turning ancient wisdom into everyday advantage. And as always, stay strategic, stay safe, and stay just a little bit mysterious.